What's going on, team? Welcome back along to another Super Rugby preview here on the Crib, the greatest place for your Super Rugby predictions. And today we are having a look at round number 6 of the competition. And fun fact, it is 1/3 of the way through the regular season. Who would have thought they were already that far through it already? Of course, we've got it is a full complement of games this round as well. Only one team having the bye, that is the Highlanders, who are missing out on our beautiful speech. And of course, we have a full complement of the rest of the teams all playing. And of course, got special guests joining us once again. And coming back, I think from round 1 was the last time you were on, weren't you? Paul from the DrivingMaul. He is back on the channel. Welcome along, Paul.
Hi, great to be back. And you have remembered to press record, yeah?
If you didn't see that bit, then no. But no, it's all going. We're good to go. And before we kick off, of course, we go through the usuals. The yellow cards, my favourite thing of the competition. And of course, SuperBru, which I'm going to save till last because that one's exciting. But yellow cards, Paul, this time last season, we were sitting on 24 yellow cards at this point. Take a gamble. What are we sitting on at this point this year?
You're playing Brucey's bonus. Higher or lower? Higher or lower?
Yeah, pretty
Lower.
much.
Lower.
How much lower? Come on.
16.
What? No. Not even close. Not even close. You're out. Next contestant. Come on down. 23 is the correct answer. We're only
23?
one less.
It was
one
lower.
less. Well, it was lower. You're right there.
There you
But
go.
you're miles off the mark. No, it's... what do they call that? Price is right. Ding, ding. You're off the mark. There you go.
But what's that one where
23.
they have the cards? They turn over the cards, you know? All you have to do is go higher or lower. You don't have to say whether it's how much. It's not like...
This isn't a game show quiz. Come on. So we're catching up on last season, which is great because I want to smash that. And of course, let's get on to it. SuperBru, we're having a look at the table for this. And Paul, you got to tell me what's going on with your picks. But before we do that, we'll have a look at the guys who are leading the way. It is Jack, the aptly named Jack, in number 1 spot with a slender lead only over 3 crowns won. A guy who's been regularly at the top of my tables as well. And then Nate's the scumbag. Nate's, I know you watch these. What are you doing? You're not going to stay there forever, boy. I'll tell you that. We're coming for you. My picks have gone much better, though. I'm up to 14th position on the leaderboard, coming back towards that top 10. But we do scroll quite a wee way down there to 38th, Paul. What's going on? You did well, though, last weekend, up 18 spots. You got to take that and happy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm doing something different this time. And so this year I'm doing DrivingMaul versus the bookie. And I lost the first 3 rounds, but I've won the last 2. So things are going on the up. So I'm coming back at you.
It's a long way. It's a long way, I can tell you, because the yellow cap
it's a marathon,
is already firmly on my head. It's firmly on my head. But I mean, to be completely fair, the guy that got the yellow cap is down on 49th. So he can have his little virtual yellow cap, because this one on my head is solely mine, and no one else is taking it. You're in a bit of a battle, though. I did notice on the leaderboard we have Brett. If Brett's tuning in, he's 33rd, you're 38th. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for, to how you two battle it out, because, you know, I'm so far ahead that you're done, Brett. You're done. You're done. So there we go.
Cooked.
Well done, Jack. Top of the table. Good job. Excellent work there. So let's get into it, though. Let's get into the real reason why we're here. It is, of course, our matches for round 6 of Super Rugby. Let's get straight into it. It is the first game of the weekend. The Blues versus the Highlanders, Eden Park. I mean, both these sides are technically coming off a bye. One enforced from the tragedies of Christchurch last Friday. The other was just a regular bye. And that was the Blues. Now, the Blues, of course, last time we seen them, they just snuck by an average Sunwolves team. The Sunwolves were poor. This is your team, Paul. Come on. What? Your Blues. I'm just throwing the hat away there. What's going on with the Blues here? Do you give them any chance here to bounce back, go 2 on the trot, possibly? Or is it all going downhill for the Blues, even further? Now, they're only beating the Chiefs by 3 points on the table, remember?
Oh, cool. Oh, you've gone quiet at last. Brilliant. I get a spot. He stopped talking, everybody.
Go.
It's amazing.
Need a drink.
You do. Absolutely. So do I. Where's my beer? Damn, it's down the pub. Look, the Blues are awful as always, aren't they? There's nothing new. I don't know why you're getting so head up about this. We know when's the last time they beat a New Zealand team?
1974.
There we go. The year I was born. So there was a birthday gift. It's a bit like no, I'm not going down that. That'd be that's just no, that's just wrong. So yeah, no. Look, you can't give them much hope, can you? They've lost the last 23, 24 games against New Zealand time sides, whatever it is, something stupid. So you've got to say that there isn't much for hope for them, to be honest. Sonny Bill Williams, the captain, fantastic from last time out, is off down in Christchurch, helping the communities down there. So he's missing as well. So we got Nonu in there, and news on or word on the street is that Nonu is not a happy camper at the moment either. So that's not good. Terry Black was supposed to be the guy who was going to run the ship, and Harry Plummer is stepping up and outplaying him, which is a bit of a surprise. So you're just looking at going, and then you've got Blake Gibson is on. There is a stronger bench being selected by the Blues than the starting 15. I mean, this is just it's a bit of a strange lineup. It's the kind of thing that was happening in the first week or the first couple of weeks, but that was when teams were having to manage out playing minutes. I got no idea why the Blues don't need to do that, but obviously they're looking for impact off the bench and trying to win it in the last 20.
Yeah, we do have teams for this one, which is a bit interesting. I think you got more to say about the Highlanders lineup, especially in the number 10 jumper.
Oh well, let me just read off, because I mean most people probably won't. People might not have seen but I mean you've got Ofa Tuangafasi, Carl Tweni Kafaleu, Patrick Tuipulotu, Papali'i, Pulu, all on the bench. I mean that's 5 All Blacks you've got on the Blues bench, and the Blues do not have a squad that can put 5 All Blacks on the bench. So there's that starting 15 has got a lot of work on its hands. For the Highlanders, they've gone and bottled it, to be honest. You've got a young guy playing really well in Ioane, and then you drop him after one bad performance and throw in Marty Banks. Look, just because he's got an afro doesn't mean he can play rugby.
It's like that as a lot to do with it. The legend, the icon that is Marty Banks. Goodness me, he's back in the starting team. He's starting at 10. The final thing about this game, though, I just want to talk about, we talked a little bit about the enforced bye that the Highlanders had to go through, along with the Crusaders, of course, last weekend. Being left in that situation of that late call, after that game where they just lost that penalty to Beauden Barrett against the Canes, it's a long 2 weeks to stew over that, isn't it? Do you think, bar the circumstances that happened last weekend, but just the fact that they've had 2 weeks off, it was a bit of a, it wasn't a planned sort of thing, so it's just short notice, late notice, things happening, a lot going on, mental fortitude of this Highlanders team taking a bit of a battering here, you think?
We are going to see the mental fortitude of them, let's be honest. But it's not like they spent 2 weeks stewing over this, waiting for this game to make up for what happened against Hurricanes, right? Because they didn't. They were all prepared, ready to play, ready for Battle of the South Island against Crusaders, and as you say, got called off with hours to go. So they haven't been stewing; they've been preparing. Now, what that means is they've put in 2 good weeks of preparation and haven't had to bash their bodies around at the weekend either. So from a physical point of view, I think they'll be in a great place. From a psychological point of view, who knows? If you've not been in the camp, you're not going to know. I think for all the New Zealand teams, that's a big question mark for all of them as to how they've been affected by what's happened in Christchurch. Because let's be honest, it's made an impact on the whole New Zealand psyche, and everyone is having to take time to come to terms with it.
Yeah, it has been a massive, massive thing, isn't it, throughout the country? So we've closed that one off. Who are you going to win it?
Just one selection thing that I would like to say from the Highlanders that I do like to see is that for the first time in about 3 games, they're playing with 2 wingers, which is good. So you've got Lee on one side and Nahola on the other. We've had Buckman, we've had Fadders, we've had all sorts of centres playing on the wing. So it's good to see real wingers being picked into real places, positions. I love Buckman, I love Fadders as well. Please have my children. But they're not wingers at the end of the day. They are centres, or in Fadders' case also fullback as well. But yeah, they're not really wingers. So I like the balance of this of this side much better for the Highlanders.
They're going to pick up an away victory?
Yes, Highlanders by 5.
Oh, Highlanders by 5. That's good. We're slightly a bit off on the start. I've gone Highlanders by just 4. Taking a leaf out of the low-scoring book. I think it could be close. Could be close. Should be an exciting one. Hopefully the Blues can turn up a little bit and make it an exciting start to the weekend, like we've had in the past. Moving on to our second game of the weekend, the Hurricanes versus the Stormers. I'll be looking at last week and what went wrong with that Chiefs game. Where do they start? There's a lot that the Hurricanes definitely need to step up on from last week, even though it is against the Stormers on the road.
Yes and no. So the big thing about the Stormers is that the Stormers just don't score tries. Okay, so I think they've only scored something like 6 tries this season so far, which is just crazy. So you've got to say that, and let's be honest, kicking in the cake tin isn't easy, especially for a travelling for a travelling side. So you've got to say that the Stormers, Stormers only scored 6 tries this season. You've got to say the Stormers are big underdogs here, because the Hurricanes are going to score points. They do score tries. They've got 17 so far this season. So you've got to say the Canes should have a pretty easy time of it.
I'll tell you an interesting little statistic here about the Stormers travelling to Wellington.
Oh, you want
the last 5 matches?
Because now I'm throwing statistics out at you. You decided, hey, you're feeling out of place. Go on.
The last 5 matches these two sides have met in Wellington. Mm-hmm. The Stormers have won 2.
Sure, but the last one was 2013. I mean, that's
doesn't matter when the last one was. It's 2 out of the last 5. That is a good percentage of winning. What's that? 40%.
True, it is, but I'm not sure any players that turned up for that 2013 game are still playing for the Stormers.
Or still playing rugby for them.
Yes, exactly.
Oh dear, I just thought I'd slip you up on that one. The travel's going to be the big point, though. That was my big point of the Stormers. You've covered that pretty well. Should be a canter home for the Hurricanes. But, I mean, we said that last week, didn't we? Against the Chiefs. Well, I said that last week. I don't know what you quite picked. But pretty much everyone expected them to canter home against the Chiefs. And, well, we all know that didn't quite happen the way they planned. But expecting a big margin. Now, Paul standards, a big margin is double figures. Are we going to crack 10, Paul?
Are we going to crack 10? Quick, hang on. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? No, I've said 5.
So he's talked them up about a comfortable, easy victory and then gone just by 5. I can say I haven't gone much different. I've only gone the Canes by 8. So it's not very high score at all by us. But I do think they should win it fairly easily at home versus a team like Stormers.
Can I throw some other stats at you?
Go for it.
Okay.
Statman.
So the Stormers, I've already told you they've only scored 6 tries. 4 of those have been from first phase play, and 2 of them from phases 2 to 3. So basically, the Stormers are only going to. So as long as you can stop the first phase or 2, the Stormers aren't going to score. The problem for the Hurricanes is that whilst they've given up 15 tries, 9 of those that they've given up have been on first phase. So the Hurricanes really need to up their first phase defence, and if they do, basically that'll snuff out the Stormers.
Interesting term use of words there to snuff out the Stormers. I like that. There we go.
The Hurricanes will blow the Stormers away.
Oh dear, it just got worse. I shouldn't have said anything at all. Shouldn't have said anything. Let's move on. Waratahs Crusaders. It's the 3rd match of the weekend. It's at the what should we call this? The sand pit of the SCG. It's a bit like that, isn't it? It's a terrible pitch to play on. What's going on with the Waratahs? I mean, this is a really good Australian question, but I mean, their big name players are really struggling to stand up in Super Rugby this season.
Well, as you say, they're on quicksand. But look, the old adage, forwards win games, backs decide by how many. All the big names for the Waratahs are in the backs, right? Apart from Hooper. And so basically that front five is lightweight. And sometimes they'll get out of jail with the backs, and sometimes they won't, effectively. So yeah, that's what it really comes down to. That is that, and if we're talking about playing against weak packs, the last name that comes to mind is the Crusaders.
Yeah,
the Crusaders quite possibly could field. Actually, no, because I don't think Kieran Reid is back yet, is he? Anyway,
I think it's a few weeks more. Yeah,
So with the exception of number 8, effectively, the Crusaders could put out a seven All Blacks in their in their starting pack, and have a couple come off the bench. So, yeah, the Tars are just going to get mullered up front, aren't they?
Yeah, it's really the thing that I find that they're really struggling with, and it's a guy, Vernon Foley, pretty much, like a guy that for years, yes, he's not the big creative player. He's not going to always, set teams alight with the fancy plays, but he was the consistent goal kicker. And I think that is really what has hurt them the most. They just don't have a guy that's just popping 3 points over when they get within 50 metres of the opposition sticks. And that's hurting them. I mean, they left a lot of points out last weekend. That cost them. And that is the big thing because, yeah, you're right, like they say, the pack isn't the dominance pack that they probably need, but they can get around the pitch and they can create chances to kick for the sticks, and that's what they've built their game on over the last few years. And like I say, though, against a team like the Crusaders, it's going to be tough. We talked about a little bit of the Highlanders, but again, the mental ability, the mental capacity, these guys are going to be absolutely hit the worst out of any team. The Crusaders, surely this is going to be tough to get in the right mindset to go and play rugby again after what's happened.
Yes and no. So here we have with the Crusaders organisation, and admittedly, it's again, none of the players are the same, the coaches are different, etc. But we've seen previously with earthquakes how that in adversity, this Crusaders team just gets better. Not worse. So this franchise, say it's not this team, is it? There is the real chance that actually the opposite happens here, and that out of adversity comes an absolutely devastating performance, which is what we might see.
Yeah, and it's the other thing too, following on from what you say there, it's an escape, isn't it? Reality is a painful place for a lot of these guys at home, and to get away, to escape from it, to go out and part of the team, unity. Those sorts of things are massive with that franchise, like you say. And yeah, it could be a chance to go out there, let off some steam, and there'll be a heap of steam. There'll be a lot of steam. Well, just put in a pound.
Yeah, release some anger. Yeah, sorry, Waratahs, and it's not your fault. But hey, look what's coming. And you mean you're talking about kicking sticks? So 44 penalties conceded by the Crusaders so far this season puts them at sort of the kind of upper middle sort of range. And you got to think they didn't even have a game last weekend as well. So the discipline hasn't been great, but even so, I think that I just can't see them. Can't see them being stopped.
The thing is with the Crusaders, like I think one previous guests have said, they let a team have 3, but then they hit them back with 7, or they hit them back with 14. It's kind of just like a reset to get back down the other end of the field, knowing that they've got the ability to smack them right with the big pointer instead of just a pathetic 3-pointer. So that's how good they can be. They flick the switch and they absolutely nail it. And yeah, it could be nasty for the Waratahs, which I'm not too worried about because I'm not the greatest fan of the Waratahs. You picking a big one? Here we go again. Double fingers, Paul.
Well, Crusaders, look, they've scored more tries than anyone else with 23. And as we just said, they didn't even play last weekend. So I've gone Crusaders by 7. Oh dear, look, that's so low, isn't it? Oh, gee, make it 15 plus. But yeah, sorry folks. Yeah, I've said 7 on my video, my prediction post. So 7 is what I've gone for. But I've gone. That's low.
Yeah, well, I can't really talk anyway. I've gone through mine as well, and I've just got them up by 5. So not too much of a difference there between our picks at all. Goodness me. Oh dear. But I mean, yeah. I think it's going to be a bit more than that. But we'll go safe. We'll go safe. You never know what's going to happen. Just ask the Chiefs. Goodness me. Let's move on. Sunwolves. Oh goodness me. Here we go. Sunwolves versus the Lions. Singapore. I don't know what to talk about with the Sunwolves now. I've got points here to talk about, but it could be sad times coming up this weekend for the Sunwolves, couldn't it?
Well, it's something could. It is sad times for the Sunwolves. So, and it's let's be honest, it's all leaked, it's all rumoured. It's going to get announced on Friday, so not even tomorrow. I mean, how much of a dog's breakfast can Sanzar make of this? Now, at least they've told the staff ahead of announcing it, but by telling the staff and the team, the first thing, guess what? All the reporters who've got mates in the team have found out that, hey, the Sunwolves have been told that basically they're not going to exist from next year. So, they're getting cut. So they're going to be down. Now there's one or two ways that this plays out. Either they just go, well, what's the point, and just crumble and are absolutely destroyed for the rest of the season, or they bounce back and suddenly the Lions are given the hardest game they can imagine as they try and prove everybody wrong that they shouldn't get cut.
Yeah, I know we're not going to talk about it too much. It's a bit of a travesty, isn't it? It's a shame. It's disappointing. It really is disappointing. And the Sunwolves have been all right too. They've been really good this season. But the last time they played in Singapore, they did get thrashed by the Sharks in that opening game. So possibly a venue they don't really like playing at. So that could be an issue for them.
I'm not sure. Not saying they don't like playing at. It's just they just do like playing at home. Because let's be honest, at home they get fantastic crowds. So
they do.
Why would you cut them? In fact, I'd be happy to say that the best atmosphere out of any Super Rugby ground is any regular Super Rugby ground is up in Tokyo.
Yep. No, 100%. I'd agree with you on that too. Yeah, definitely a regular season game. It's no question they have a great atmosphere there as well.
The only one I would say that goes anywhere near it would be Fiji when the Chiefs go and play the Crusaders there.
Yeah, but that's not a regular season venue though, is it? It is, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like they're not going to play 8 games there a season or whatever it would be.
Yep.
If they would be, but real shame. But I mean, they're up against the Lions. I mean, we've got to talk about those guys as well. I hate picking South African teams. I hate picking South African matches. They have been a nightmare. And this Lions team, inconsistency through the roof. Just ludicrous how badly and how well they can play in the same match. Last week, prime example, they were terrible in the first half. And then, second half, here we are. We're the Lions. We're going to play some rugby now. This conference in South Africa is just log-jammed as well. Are we going to get a consistent Lions? Are we going to get anything?
3 teams all on the same number of points in that South African conference is nuts. Do you want some strange stats for the Lions?
Here we go. Hit me.
So the third quarter of the game, so after that first 20 minutes, so 40 minutes, 6 minutes, they've scored 8 tries, which is more than anybody else in any quarter of the game. The Brumbies also scored 8 tries in the second quarter of the game. But so that's when you've got to be careful, is when they come out after the second half. Basically, they need the coach to tell them what to do. And also, they score the majority of their tries between 4 and 6 phases, which is amazing. So 9 tries in there. No other team has scored more than 4 tries in that band. So for the Lions, it's not so much off that first phase, which is what you get with a lot of the other teams. They want to have a number of phases to pull your defence apart before having a go. So they take 4 to 6 phases to score their tries, which is, I say, different to a lot of the other teams. So there you go, some stats for you. Either way, I back the Super Wolves against the Blues after they beat the Chiefs. I'm not doing so again this season. Basically.
I mean, the problem for the Lions is with going 4 to 6 phases is, especially like in the first half, which makes perfect sense what you're saying, they tend to drop the ball after 1 or 2.
Yep.
So it kind of spoils that whole opportunity or that chance to create anything from it. So they've got to pick it up. They've definitely got to put it away. I mean, because like you say, if that Sunwolves come out and they're fired up and they are super pissed, we've seen it. They can score tries, and they can score tries rapidly, quickly, and put a lot of points on the board very quickly because they score in sevens and they score in threes and they score them all the time. So that's, I mean, it could be a replay of last weekend almost, couldn't it, for the Lions being down by a lot and having to fight their way back. But are you going the visitors to sneak one in Singapore?
Yeah, I am. And it doesn't help that some Wolves have conceded 65 penalties this season, which is more than anyone else. The next highest is 54. So the next highest is 11 behind them. Sorry. So, so they've, which is, and so that is, they don't help themselves, let's be honest. So I'm going Lions by 3. And again, I've gone for a really small margin because, as you say, who are these Lions? I mean, they're all over the shop.
Yep, I've gone a little bit more aggressive than you on this one. I've gone Lions by a mighty 9 points, going a whole try and 2, which is a massive margin for us. So there we go. It's going to be an interesting game, though. It's going to be a really interesting matchup to see what Sunwolves team actually comes out. Because they've got a few guys back from Japan, from the international team training camp too, don't they? I did see the 27 players they listed earlier on. I didn't quite see exactly who there was, but I think they got Tanaka back and a couple of others in the backs especially as well. So Little apparently hasn't travelled, which is interesting. He has? No, I didn't see his name. Yeah, he's been standout for them. Yeah. So... interesting. Maybe he's off. He's gone. He's split. He's off to England or the Pro 14 or something. He's out of there already.
The Chiefs need him. Come to the Chiefs. We want you. Please. Hamilton's lovely. It's got a river and everything.
Everything. Except for a good rugby team. Moving on.
And the sea. Sorry.
Here we go. Good segue. Bulls versus the Chiefs. Goodness me.
So actually, we're talking about this South African conference. We should just to tell people as to how log jammed it is. So the Bulls, Lions and Stormers all on 13 points. But the Bulls, points difference, 63. The Lions, points difference, 0 on the same number of points. The Stormers, -3 on the same number of points. What's going on? The Sharks just 2 points back and 11 points. And then, yes, Jaguar is on 9. But yeah, it's crazy. That points difference tells you something, doesn't it? It tells you that the Bulls are the most impressive side in South Africa. Their one loss was overseas, and let's be honest, they don't like going overseas. They're Bulls. They like travelling by land.
And the bonus point, oh goodness me, God. Oh, moving on. The bonus point tells you a lot too, doesn't it? The fact that the Sharks, they have 2 bonus point ones, or whatever you call it, 4 try bonus or 3 try leading bonus points. Yeah, they've got 2 of them, and they got 3 in total. But for scoring the 3 more tries, they got 2 of, which is as opposed to the Lions who have none. So you talk about tries, you talk about the importance of that. That tells you right there that they are the ones scoring the big points in Africa. Interesting table, though.
Absolutely, yeah. Because the Bulls have scored 9 tries this season. Yeah, even the Chiefs have scored more with 14. The problem is the Chiefs have let in 25, which is so. Expect. This is a great opportunity for the Bulls to actually learn how to throw the ball around and score some, and not just kick.
Here's a more stat for you. Stat man back again.
Oh yeah.
The Chiefs have not won on the road against the Bulls since 2001. 2001. Wow. That is a little bit. But I mean, they don't play every season. This is a similar stat to the Stormers and the Hurricanes, but I've flipped it back the other way to make it seem more impressive for the Bulls. But that's a long time. But regardless of the history or form or anything like that, I mean, it's hard to go past the Bulls, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, this Chiefs have leaked 25 tries this season, which is the worst by any team. And they've leaked 14 in the first half. I mean, they're so far behind by half time that it really doesn't matter that they you got to say that this is for the Bulls for the taking, I think.
Now I'm interested. People know my thoughts about this, but they might be interested to hear yours.
Oh yeah.
You'll know very quickly where this is going. Damian McKenzie. Where's he going to play this weekend? I mean, great at 15. Perfect partnership with his brother Marty at 10. He can't go back to 10 now, can he? After that, after what they've delivered so far, and then what they delivered last weekend, they can't go back.
Well, at the end of the day, it comes down to what does Steve Hansen want? Okay, it's irrelevant what the Chiefs want and what's good for the Chiefs. This comes down to where does Steve Hansen want Dame McKenzie?
Well, he definitely
playing,
wants Marty.
If he does, then he's asking the wrong questions. Then you've got to say that it's where does he want Dame McKenzie playing at the Rugby World Cup? That's all that matters, and that's where he should be playing. And so, hence, I would put him back in the 10 jersey. I know you wouldn't, and I don't think they will. I think they'll leave him at 15.
Going on what you say, though, I wouldn't have thought they would have even got one game to put him back at 15. I would have thought it would have been like, win, lose, draw, play like crap or play really well. He's got to play 10. Needs the time before the World Cup, regardless of what you want, like you say. That's why I was so surprising that he played there last week.
I think Solomon Alamano was injured, which is part of it. The Chiefs, again, have got a massive injury list. There's something like 15 players missing last weekend, so they've got a big injury list, and it's at the moment it's a matter of trying to find 15 players to get on the pitch. So, he's there because there's no one else to play at fullback.
As long as Marty McKenzie keeps playing, that's all right. That's all that needs to worry about.
Well, Marty McKenzie can play fullback. He did for Taranaki.
Yeah.
The other year.
And he played it for the Crusaders when he was there too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if that doesn't tell you anything, champion. We've tipped him over the edge with the Marty McKenzie talk. Oh, goodness me.
That wasn't with Razor, was it? He was there.
Oh, it was a few years ago, yeah.
So he's not. He's not a Super Rugby champion, is he?
No, not physically champion. No, but just a champion player. Not like Robbie Robertson, the other Southern player who is a champion, Super Rugby champion. Just to remind you all about. That's good. Yep, good one, Robbie. I know he won't be watching. So who are you picking to win this one?
Bulls by 7.
By 7, that's a big margin. I've actually cracked the double figures on this one. I've gone Bulls by 11. All the ones, 181 for the Bulls to pick up the victory at home. 181. We're staying in South Africa, my favourite place to make rugby predictions. The Sharks are up against the Rebels. The Sharks are back from the bye, of course, one of the other teams that were on the bye last weekend. And before that, they got absolutely smashed by the Bulls. Dearie me. Last time these two sides met in this venue, it was a 9-9 draw in 2017. There's some trivia for you. The Sharks, do you think they just need to play a tidy match, catch the ball, pass the ball, catch the ball again, and keep it simple to actually come away after this victory against the Rebels team that like to live off errors and mistakes from like the South African teams make all the time?
Well, clearly that's going to be part of the Sharks thing is to try and keep it tight. But what headspace? I mean, we've been talking about headspaces already, but what headspace are the Rebels in? They lost a game where they were leading 5-33. What does that do to your confidence? They're going to be absolutely shell shocked. You had a 28-point lead and they let it slip. And the Lions made hard work of trying to score that last point to win it. I mean, they had lots of opportunities to kick the ball over and just get 3 and get the lead, but no, they had to wait until the time ran out to try and do it. So I say the coaches this week will for the Rebels really need to earn their money, because those players are going to be in an absolute mess as far as headspace goes for playing games. So that really comes to me is what this comes down to. Are the Rebels going to come into this just totally what's going on and just get thumped, or are they going to come into this going, we've got things to fix, we've got wrongs to right, and we're going to really take it to them? So to me, they're either going to be very dangerous or an absolute doormat.
Sure.
I don't know which one.
You're right. That was my point on the Rebels as to where they're going to be mentally after that match. I mean, in Africa, it's the worst place to get a hiding like that, and it's the most likely place too you're going to get a hiding is on your first tour match, or not a hiding, but a demoralising result like that would be. Effectively, it was a second half hiding on it. But I mean, they got positives to take. I mean, they scored a lot of points in that first half. That's something they've got to have on their side, but it's a tough place to go on tour and have to come back from that sort of.
They do. Okay, they're up against the Sharks. The Sharks have only conceded 6 tries all season. They're the best defence defensive side in the whole tournament from that point of view. But yeah, Sharks only have conceded 6 tries all season. So I think that that basically it's a matter of just suffocating the Rebels, kick over some sticks, and let the Rebels just implode as they try and do more and more and more.
Yeah, try and force the game.
Yep.
And it gets worse. Yep. And you talked about points differential as well. For interesting with the South African table, is that the Sharks are actually on a plus 26. Second best differential in the African Conference as well. So, I mean, that's got to count for something. They're a team that wins, and they win nicely. They get points. They don't get thumped.
They do, but they get points by kicking sticks, right? Rather than scoring tries. They don't score many tries.
That works.
It does work, especially against a side like the Rebels, who have given up 53 penalties this season, which is the third most out of any team. So this is one of those perfect matchups for the Sharks. If the Sharks let this slip, then there's got to be some question marks.
And the way South Africa's been going this season,
they will.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Are you going for a home win?
I am. Sharks by 3.
Oh, damn it. I knew there'd always be one every episode that someone gets exactly the same pick as mine. I'm going Sharks by 3 as well. Every single week this season, I tell you. Every single week. Oh, goodness me. Let's go on to our last game of the weekend. Reds versus Brumbies.
Now,
interesting.
Before we get on to the game, let's talk about the scheduling.
Yes.
Where's the Friday night Aussie game? I mean, seriously, guys, look, one of the good things about New Zealand, good things about this way the Super Rugby is set up for New Zealand is we know we've got a game every Friday and every Saturday night at 7:35, every week, the whole season. The Aussies, though, they don't know if they've got a game every Friday. They don't have a game every Friday. So it's kind of like turn on the telly and go, bugger, there's no game.
That's what chiming away instead.
Exactly. Seriously, if you're trying to grow an audience, you have to keep it consistent so they can just switch on the telly and get used to always watching it at the same time and just get into the habit of watching their rugby. So Sanzar, bad move.
I mean, take your pick of Sanzar bad moves. I mean, it's a pretty long list now, really.
It is, but you wanted to finish before midnight. We've only got 2 hours. If you really want to go down that rabbit hole, I can do. I'm happy.
We're not talking about Sanzar. No. Moving on. Rugby. Talk about the rugby. The Reds. What have made of the Reds this season? They've looked good in bits and pieces, but they've obviously pretty much struggled to get over the line, bar that little escape against the Sunwolves, which they're lucky. They were very lucky to get that win.
They were, absolutely. A side that basically doesn't have any strike moves and just has to wear down its opposition. Looking at the stats, because they've scored more tries after 7 phases than any other team, with 5. So, they really do try to wear you down and score lots of tries late. The problem is the Brumbies have never conceded a try after 7 phases. Now maybe that's because they've just been so porous before then, basically that they never make a team go more than 6 phases before scoring against them, but because they have been pretty poor in defence. But you've got to say that it's a strange team. Is this Reds? They flatter to deceive. They look like they should be getting good results, but they don't.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with that. That was perfectly where I was going at that point as well. They look good. Like, from their first game in round 2 against the Highlanders, they looked like they were going to achieve something. And they had a really tough couple of games, and then it just never really took off for them. You talked a little bit about what I was going to go into next, about how the Reds are a team that grind their opposition down and don't have that razzle-dazzle, as Justin Marshall would put it, to put a team away. A team like the Brumbies are a team that this season have suffered to the teams that have that razzle-dazzle to put another team away. Surely they've got to have the advantage of a team that can handle that grind a bit more than they can handle the flashy stuff. And against a team like Reds, surely that's got to work in their advantage with the way their pack works and how they do the same, but they grind it defensively well as well.
Yeah, and they're better. The Reds are much better discipline-wise as well. So they give up 31 penalties, whereas the Brumbies go up 43. That's 1/3 more penalties by the Brumbies. That could really influence the territorial side of things and get the Reds down in the right part of the pitch for them. It might give them a bit of a piggyback ride down there, because I think they're going to have to go and camp in the 22 and just go through phases until until the Brumbies fall over. Unfortunately for the Reds, their defensive woes come in that 2 to 3 phase thing. Fortunately for them, the Brumbies can't score after the first phase. If you stop that first phase attack, then basically if you stop that line out more, the Brumbies don't win. So when we're talking here about a team, the Reds, that only the Blues have given up less penalties, they're just not going to give the Brumbies that kicks the corner line out more chance. That's where the Brumbies score all their tries from. They've scored 14 tries from phase 1, which is more than anyone else. And they've only scored 7 other tries in total. So 2/3 of their tries come from the first phase of play, and a lot of that is line out more. So just don't give up penalties against the Brumbies, and you're halfway to winning. And this Red side just don't give up penalties.
That's ticker number 1, isn't it? I mean, I think the Reds have a pack that can match that more. It's a young pack, but it's definitely shown over the last couple of seasons that it is definitely a good pack, especially by Australian standards, which isn't great standards, but they're only playing another Australian team. So an interesting match. I'm kind of intrigued how that one's going to go, and I'm thankful that I'm not going to be working when it's on too. I'll be finished by then. Yes, good stuff. So are you going for a home win or an away win? Because I think this could be the tiebreaker.
You think this could be the tiebreaker? Really? Okay. The other one actually is that just as a kind of another aside is that the Brumbies tend to score more tries in the first half and concede more in the second half, which kind of matches the Reds, who tend to score more in the second half as well. So there's a good chance the Brumbies might go out to a lead, but then the Reds basically drag them back afterwards. And I'm expecting them to drag them back so far that they actually win by 3 points. So home win by 3.
I knew it. I knew you'd go for the Reds. I knew you were going with the Reds. I'm not. I'm going with the Brumbies. Have served me well last week, so I'm going to back them again. I'm going Brumbies by 4 golden points to give me that point of difference, that little bit, just to rocket me up that table that little bit more at the end of the weekend. But that is it. We are done. Done our matches. It's not midnight yet, so we can all go to bed early. It's 1 minute to. Not quite. Thanks for joining us, Paul. As always, you're going to give a shout out to anything else you're doing this weekend. You're a busy man.
I am, but yeah, I'm definitely doing the post-match reaction to the Hurricanes versus the Stormers on Saturday night. The Friday night one is definitely questionable at the moment. Actually, looking at what I've got to do with my kids. So yes, the Friday night one's probably not going to happen. But the Saturday night one is definitely happening. I'll be on Arshwin's sofa. Stephen, not Steve, will be joining us as well for that one. So join us live after that one.
Sounds good. And of course, we'll be back again on Monday as well on your channel for the round review. And of course, next week we're back for another preview. And as always, who's going to be the special guest then? I don't even know yet. So tune in and find out. Until then, thanks for watching. Thanks, Paul, for coming on as always. And until next week, take care.
Bye. Sorry, I've been a bit crazy tonight. Bye.
It's late. God.